Well, what happens when you got one of these, man, and you're a bit overweight? Well, can you still cycle? Of course the answer is yes, but there is some considerations you need to take into account if you're going to ride a road bike, because if you're looking at the more expensive road bikes, a lot of them do have weight limits. So let's get into it and let's have a look at what you need to consider if you have a little bit too much of this. Well, if you are a little bit overweight, you do need to consider that the high-end bikes are actually made, a lot of them anyway, to a weight limit, especially the wheels. And a lot of the wheels have a limit of 120 kilograms. That may vary depending on the brand. So if you're someone who's carrying a little bit more weight, or you're just someone who works out and you've got bigger and you're carrying more weight, but you want to do some cardio, then you want to consider that when you're buying your bike. So you need to do a little bit of research on the frames. Now, the frames now are actually getting thinner and lighter because they're compensating for the fact that the group sets and disc brake systems are heavier. So what the frame guys are doing, they're using different techniques like expanded polystyrene as a blank to get the bikes even lighter than they are now. So, you know, if you're a bigger guy, probably better to keep away from those frames, and also these low spoked disc wheels which have 21 spokes, because the forces that are being put through those wheels and the fact that they're dished and cross spoked actually weakens the wheel compared to a radial construction. So what I would suggest is probably going for an aluminium frame or a heavier frame that's not such a top end frame, and go for wheels that are 24 spoke or higher. And this will give you a more reliable bike for someone who's heavier, because even for someone who's like me, who's 85 kilos, if I put a bit of weight on my bike, I actually start to feel they get a little bit flexy. So, and that's even here with my look. So you need to be aware of that if you are carrying a bit more weight, but that doesn't mean you can't do cycling. It's just a matter of doing a bit of research.
Right.
And checking out what is capable of carrying your weight if you're above that 100 kilo or 120 kilos. Well, some parts to consider are your wheels, so check out your spoke count. A higher spoke count is always going to be better. Keep away from the very low spoke counts that they're putting out now, especially the 21 design spokes. And also have a look at the frame. Now, carbon frames may be okay if they're some of the older frames that were made a little bit stronger. And also to consider are also your stem and handlebars, and you would like those to be aluminium in reality. And even your seat post, you can go for an aluminium seat post, but make sure you keep grease on that part because it goes into a carbon frame, and carbon and aluminium are at extreme ends of the periodic scale, so they corrode very easily. So that's something to keep in mind. You just need to keep it either lubricated or use some sort of barrier in there to stop any physical contact.